Continuation of the introduction. Number 3. Public manifestation of the new religion under the auspices of the Pope. To understand the Assisi event is to understand the, quote, historical turning point officially introduced into the Church since the Council, and likewise to understand the reigning pontiff. The reverse is also true. There is public talk of a new religion, and not only of manifest innovations in theology and liturgy. This historical turning point was in the making among theologians long before Vatican II, and was nowhere given more official status as the new religion of the conciliar church than in Assisi under the Pope's leadership. A primary task of present-day theology is to shed light on this dramatic incident of the new religion inaugurated by the Pope himself. The pontificate of John Paul II plays a key role in the new religion, but not as though the Pope's theology and administration present something entirely new. His theology is eclectic, only a special version in the broad spectrum of new theologies, and his administration, as he understands it, is merely a continuation of the path marked out by Pope Paul VI and Vatican II. Since John Paul II is personally convinced of the new theology founded on the pan-ecumenical ideas of Vatican II, since he places himself as Pope at the head of the liberal religious movements for unity, and leads them to the unforeseen summit of their endeavors, to the prayer meeting of religions in Assisi, he has, in effect, with the authority of the office of Peter, aided and abetted the various ecumenical groups in the Church and the world towards a spectacular breakthrough. Thus, Assisi became the visible manifestation of the conciliar church's new religion under the auspices of the Pope. Number 4. The Trinitarian Trilogy, heart of John Paul II's theology. Considering the large quantity of papal writings and speeches, of more or less important addresses of the Holy See, drawn up by various collaborators on different occasions, all of which is by no means a homogeneous, coherent body, the question arises, where and how, amidst the bulk of apostolic pronouncements, can we come to know the Pope's personal theology? Is it a theologically coherent body? If so, how can we pick it out from the heterogeneous bulk of material? By the very nature of the matter, the Pope's theology does not appear in professorial essays, but in official pronouncements, dogmatic encyclicals, and pontifical acts. Consequently, it does not claim to be a rigid scientific demonstration, but gradually comes more into focus in the course of exercise of the apostolic office. Furthermore, the theology of John Paul II is not easy to recognize in its structure and entirety because of the particularity of the language, the meditative character of the statements, the associative circular mode of thought, the different purposes of the pronouncements, the heterogeneous bulk of material and subjects discussed, but especially on account of the use of traditional language and concepts, which, however, in the context of the new theology, undergoes a total change in meaning. From the beginning of John Paul II's administration, we can clearly see that he is determined to dedicate his pontificate to a grand theological vision. It is equally clear that the Pope intended from the beginning to present his theology as a coherent body. This holds especially for the three major dogmatic encyclicals, which he has referred to as the Trinitarian Trilogy, and therefore which he understands as a theological whole. At the announcement of his encyclical on the Holy Ghost, Dominum et Vivificantem, May 30th, 1986, John Paul II himself declared that it forms a kind of Trinitarian trilogy, along with the two other encyclicals, Dives in Misericordia, November 30th, 1980, and Redemptor Hominis, March 4th, 1979, which deal with the Father and the Son. This Trinitarian trilogy should be considered, therefore, as a theological whole. It forms the very core of John Paul II's theology. From this core, we can understand the Pope's entire pontificate. Moreover, the promulgation of the Trinitarian Trilogy encompasses the entire period from the beginning of the pontificate, Redemptor Hominis, March 4th, 1979, down to the year of the prayer meeting at Assisi, Dominum et Vivificantem, May 30th, 1986. The Trinitarian Trilogy presents the theological basis for the dogmatic preparation and realization of that event. In Assisi, the first commandment is at stake. The one true God in three divine persons stands alongside the gods of various religions. The confrontation, or reconciliation of all the gods, takes place in the midst of all religions, including the Christian faith and Catholic theology. By associating the three encyclicals, Redemptor Hominis, Dives in Misericordia, and Dominum et Vivificantem, with the Son, the Father, and the Holy Ghost, and by designating them as the Trinitarian Trilogy, the Pope connects these encyclicals directly with the Trinitarian controversy, which is the dogmatic crystallization point in the present theological upheaval. The Trinitarian Trilogy is, however, not a trilogy of the Trinity, hence not a treatise on God's unity of nature and trinity of persons, but it is the main part of John Paul II's theology, which, according to the Pope, has its ultimate foundation in the three divine persons. The Pope's teaching on the Trinity as such must be extracted specifically from the three encyclicals, and can be fully grasped only after a complete analysis of them.